Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Good morning. Yay, it's Monday. I know, I tried. I'm kidding. I love Mondays. Rainy days too. So rainy days and Mondays do not get me down. Can I get an amen? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren. How was your weekend? I could barely get out of bed this morning. I am not kidding you. I was so sore. So you see, I had to take my time with that because I almost got country. I want to say I was so right. I was sore. Guess why? Yes, Christmas Central. If you watch my, well, did I talk about that? Yeah, I think I did. I showed my window, my box with the window in the kitchen. Yeah. So all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and Saturday I was here all alone because my husband was in. Oh, can you guys pray for my mother-in-law? Her name is Lahana. Isn't that a beautiful name? It's a Hawaiian name, Lohana. And she was having some issues. She was in ICU, but she's doing a little better. And we're hoping that's where we're going for Thanksgiving. So prayers for Lohana and anyone out there that's having some issues, some health issues, or just not feeling 100% for whatever reason. Let's send some light and some love out, shall we? Yeah, real quick before we get started, let me just say we also need to send some energy out because I want this guest here today. She's an older woman. She is the real deal. She came referred by one of my most trusted colleagues, Sean Jones from Sean Jones Healing, and Margaret Claire Jacobs is her name. And I refer to her after talking to her just one time for about 30 minutes last week as the angel lady. You guys know I talk about my two angels, the two that I've been able to see and deal with since I was a little boy. Seriously, and to be honest, I don't care if people believe me or not, seriously, because they're here with me right now and they always have been. So I refer to her as the angel lady, Margaret Claire, but she's a little older and she's having some issues getting in to the broadcast. So I called Sean. He was just waking up, but he's trying to reach her to try to talk her through. So let's all just focus and pray that we can get Margaret Claire in here because she is absolutely phenomenal. She works with a group of angels, all female, and she calls them I think she said the Divine Mothers. And let me go. I have her website pulled up. And she's man. I looked and I saw all sorts of recommendations and reviews, stories from people that have spoken with her, and man, they just all say Margaret Claire, I declare, Margaret Claire is the real deal. Okay, so we're hoping she can get in here. In the meantime, let me bring to your attention, Sean's texting me. He's saying that he's trying to get her on the phone so he can help. Great, thank you, Sean, if you can hear me. If not, and I want to pull up something, but first, my ADHD is running rampant, child, up in here today. I want to bring to your attention. Now, look, I have it here today. I was remiss last week. On the screen. Wait. Yeah, see? That's hard to do. See that green circle? Grab that code. Trust me. I have been using, when I was in New York earlier in the year speaking at the Black Professionals event in New York City, I met a mother-daughter team there. They just came up. You know how they give you those bags and you collect things from different vendors and put them in the bag? She just came in and dumped a bunch of samples in my bag. And boy, was that smart on her part because I have been hooked on their products. I stopped going to Sephora. I stopped ordering hundreds of dollars worth of stuff to try to keep this mausoleum of a face, trying to look. I'm 62. I'll be 63 on my birthday. And things start happening. They do. And so I started using, because they're all natural, Genomia Renee. That's the code up there. Now you get a discount, but let me tell you this. When you go over, and we're stalling in case you just came in, because we're trying to get, I'm praying. We got to, if not, I'm bringing her back. I don't care if I got to fly her to Chicago. Margaret Claire Jacobs is coming on this show. You guys use this discount code at checkout, Blessed Friday, ! And you're going to get an additional discount on anything you choose. But let me show you. I use a variety of the butters. I've had the coconut. This time I am using, is this coconut? Oh yeah, I just got this. This is coconut, but I have a sample of aloe vera, which I have on right now. So I love it. They make it. And I'm not kidding you. If I put a little dab on, it's really great. And the way they ship it, I have ordered these whipped butters before. Actually, one was from a family member, but she didn't know better. She was just getting started. And when it got here from California, it was melted, right? Their stuff comes packed in ice things. And I don't know how they make any money because it's not expensive. $20 for one of these. Just $20. And so anyway, I put it on, and boy, so now I have 2 layers on. Now, if any of you of color, or maybe not, other people have it too. If you ever have to deal with something called ashiness, you need it. But I am not kidding you. I put that whipped butter on once, and my face, my skin, my hands, everything, especially in the wintertime. I'm not kidding you. I'm not just saying that because they're now a sponsor. I was wearing their stuff, and I was telling you about this long before. They just became a sponsor last week. And then this is the other thing I tried, which I love. I was spending like $75 to $150 for, serum that you put on when you go to sleep at night, right? And theirs is like $22, I believe, right? And I absolutely love it. See? Boom, boom, boom. There it is. And a little goes a long way. So you guys get over, take the code or scan it up in the corner at checkout. Make sure that what does this one say? Black Friday link. My Shopify. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm going to do for you guys? Stay put. We're still hoping that we can get our girl at Margaret in here. I'm going to put this in your comment section if that's okay. Let me just drop this in there. That way you have everything. You have the code, you have the link, you have everything but the product. And you're going to get that. I'm telling you, it's great. You will thank me. Who said I love? Oh, someone knows Margaret. Wait. Claudia, I love this woman. So wise, loving, brilliant, channel of the mothers. Yes. Oh my God, Claudia, I wish you lived next door so you could run over there and help her get on. I've never heard what she told me in all these 8 years, and I absolutely believe her. Margaret said, she goes, I can't get in. She goes, on my phone or on my computer, it says I don't have a password, and that's never happened. So we're working to get Margaret Claire in here, Margaret Claire Jacobs, because she's absolutely phenomenal. So Claudia, thank you. Robert Booker and the rest of you, good morning. 515 people from Raleigh watching right now, and I just want to say thank you. And for those of you in the United States, happy Thanksgiving week. If you're traveling, please be safe. Sean just messaged me. Hold on. Yes, she does. Oh, like he can hear me. Hold on. He said she doesn't have Messenger. Yes. Let me just tell him. Yes. Oh, yes. We have been talking in there. Yes, it's true. Now it's up. The gig is up. You guys know now that I type and have to speak the words out as I type. It used to be every letter, so it's better. It's just the word now. And if you ever have asked me a math question or something, I'm going to count on my fingers. Public school. I don't know what to tell you. It works for me. It works for me. So while we're waiting, because I still want to talk about this, and I want to hear from you all, especially our friend who is here. Where is she? I got to write you, Claudia. Oh, it's right on the screen. Claudia, stick around because I want to ask you some questions about our guest, Margaret, in case she doesn't make it. Jim says, I love her too. She's also known as Peggy, says he's been working with her since 2011. Wow. Jim, do you happen to live next door to Margaret? I want her here. She was in the car the other day when we had our pre-interview show, and I had a meeting. Like, she booked a half hour with me, and after the half hour, I was looking at the clock, and I looked at my schedule. I was like, well, I know the person that's coming on. I'll just have to apologize or send them an edibles basket because I am not clicking off this call. And I didn't, and I did apologize, and they understood. Come on, we got to get her in. In the meantime, Sean sent me something else. Email the link. Okay, hold on. To her. Okay, give me her email. Okay, Sean said to email it. Okay, so okay, we might have figured this out. How are we doing on time? Okay, 15 after. Give me her email. He's going to give me the email, and then I'm going to email the link. And I already have the link pulled up. Bear with us. You know, I'm just going to say this too. I tell my clients this all the time. When they have a session with me, because when we're together, all of us here, we are within sacred space. And things that do not serve us, don't think they sit around doing their nails and, checking emails and stuff like that. No, they are literally doing things to get in between us. Really, to get in between us. And I'm like, trick no good. So whenever you have something going on, it's that day that you spill coffee on your white shirt, when you can't find your keys. Where's my phone? It didn't charge. You wake up really excited and all of a sudden everything seems to go south. That's when you step and you go, wait a minute. What's going on here? I know what's going on. What is so wonderful up the road today for me that something is trying so hard to keep me from it? Seriously, that's what I say to myself. And I go, not going to happen. Not on my watch. Trick no good. Bye, Felicia. To the left, to the left. Okay, I'm sending this to Margaret right now. Okay, so now I have to go back and get the link because, wait a minute, paste. Because I used my copy to get her email. And once upon a time, it would have taken me a half hour to figure that out, but I'm better. Okay, now, okay, and there it is. Well, Sean, you could have sent it to her. I sent it to you. Because I told him, I'm going to need you to come in if she isn't able. Okay, so Margaret Claire, I have sent the link. Okay, done. Let me just tell Sean really quickly. I'd love for some of you who have worked with her. Can you give us a little bit about what it was like? Do you want to come in to the show? Either of you? I will send you the link. I can put the link in the comment section. And anybody who wants to come in and talk about angels, in case we don't get our friend Margaret, I'm more than happy to have you in here. I'm not kidding you. Copy that again. I'm going to do it. Claudia, I started channeling with Peggy. Melissa, Jane. Oh my goodness. I'm putting it in here. I'm putting it in there. I'm putting it in the comments. Anybody want to come on the show can come on. Does that smack of desperate? I don't think so. I know one thing. I've been thinking about this show since Friday when she booked with me. I moved somebody because I wanted to get her in before the holidays. So here's some of the things people are saying. Melissa Jane. I love that name, Melissa Jane. Wow. Melissa says that Margaret has a monthly group that she's been meeting the third Thursday since the beginning of 2020. She also says that Margaret Claire is the real deal. Girl, you think? I've known her since 2019 and I love her. Yes, she works with the mothers. Yes, that was another thing. Dragons. I was like, dragons? As long as there ain't no fire coming out of their mouth, I can deal with a dragon. You know what I'm saying? But I had never heard dragons. I said, do people kind of go, wait a minute, are you a wizardress? I made that word up. Wizardress. Because of dragons. But anyway, I'll let her tell you. I don't want to spoil her. Wait, I don't want to spoil it. Spoiler alert. Not spoil her. Y'all, ADHD is running around. If you don't sit down up in there, ADHD, man. Jim says, no, I don't live next door to her, but keep the faith. And of course, there's Claudia who said she started channeling with Peggy in the 90s. Wow. So these are people, you guys, who, there's Dr. Jim. Okay, Dr. Jim wasn't scared. He was like, look.
Oh, no.
I know what you did, though. You ran and you combed your beard real quick before you came up in here.
No. This is good. I got the Santa Claus look going on here.
It looks all soft and supple.
I got to keep it fresh. Yeah,
it is fresh.
A little bit of beard oil that keeps it soft and smooth.
I saw that in the CVS because I was looking for some pre-shave stuff for my gray because gray hairs are, anyway, we're getting off the stuff. Gray hairs are harder to shave than regular hairs. I'm just gonna tell you. But Dr. Jim,
Yeah.
thank you for stepping up. We're trying to get 909 people here. Come on, come on. Oh, everybody's saying hi to you, Dr. Jim. Tell us. Oh, Melissa says dragons are from the angelic realm. I never knew this. I did not. I thought they were fictitious, and they were in all Game of Thrones. That's when, she had those dragons and she had the eggs and all that stuff. So anyway, Jim, you started working with Margaret, you said some years ago. How did you get there, and what's it been like?
Oh my gosh. I was actually introduced to Margaret. I call her Peggy.
Yes.
Introduced to Peggy.
What is that? Well, clear that up. Is it Margaret? Because I saw on her social media, Peggy is in parentheses.
She prefers to be called Peggy.
Is Peggy the person who does the channeling?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. But I mean, Margaret Claire, proper name, but she goes by Peggy, so that's, yeah.
Got it. I go by Danzel.
There you go.
I'm kidding.
So hey, keep using that cream. Or
I am. I'm not kidding.
This is good, because it covers up the double chin here.
Well, I don't think never mind. Hey, now I'm depressed. Thanks, Jim. I'm kidding. So tell us, how did you find your way to Margaret? I mean, Peggy.
Yeah. I introduced to her by a friend. We were actually in a Thai restaurant, and Peggy comes in and sits down and like, hey, this is Jim, this is Peggy. And we just started working together. Every other week, if not just like once a month, just for channeling purposes. And oh gosh, very powerful. She has helped, and the mothers have helped guide me on my personal journey. And the evolution through all that has just been phenomenal. So
that's what everybody says.
Yeah, I appreciate what you said at the beginning when you said that she's the real deal, because absolutely, that's another. I'll put an amen on that one. But
I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
But
I mean, her channeling is very authentic, very sincere. And it's not just, okay, thank you very much, goodbye. And she'll also sit and help you process that. And if you do have any questions, she's very accessible, in between sessions. Very much our journey, which is just phenomenal.
So, Dr. Jim, can I ask, personally speaking, Claudia's here. Claudia, I'm going to let you in just a second.
Hey, Claudia.
What, were you a believer in this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff, or, what I'm saying? How did you get to the place where you were even interested?
Oh, my gosh. We do not have enough time. But I would say since age 9, 9, 10, somewhere around there. I was having these experiences, didn't know what to call it, didn't really have anybody around me to say, well, this is normal. So as a kid, I was always like, oh, am I going crazy? Until as I got older, somebody says, no, it's this. And so it just normalized everything for me that, people might say it's woo-woo, but I think it's, everything else is woo-woo, and these experiences are the norm, because of just, I always look for the after effect.
Like when you say experiences, Jim, what does that look like?
Oh,
what do you mean?
Let's see.
Hi, Claudia. Let's say hi to Claudia real quick.
Hey, Claudia.
Can she hear us? She put her ear up there. She's trying to turn your volume up because she's on her phone. Okay, while she's figuring that out, you go ahead, Jim.
All right, yeah. I was about 9 years old or so, and my uncle on my mother's side, and she was the second oldest out of 12. He loved to fly. He loved to fly planes. He had his own private plane, and he would just go up and just fly all around up in Massachusetts. And he had crashed. He didn't, it was a fight with his wife. And so most of us would get in the car and drive around the neighborhood. he got in his plane and flew around.
Oh.
But he had crashed and nobody knew where he was because he crashed in some pretty thick, dense wood. And just laying in bed one night, and my bed is right near a window, and I just hear, tap, 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 tap. And so I get up and I look out the window, and nobody's there. And so I try to fall back to sleep. Tap, 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 and looked out again. And then I go out, and mom and dad are still awake. And I just said, is there somebody outside? Because somebody's like tap, tap, tapping on my window. And as soon as I said that, my mother just shot up out of her chair and screeched, "Oh, your uncle's alive. That's an SOS he was sending to you to let you know he's alive." And it made perfect sense to me. I wasn't freaked out by it, but it's like, okay, I need more information here. But I mean, she was just convinced, got on the phone with her mother, my grandmother, and just, told her the experience, because her mother had always been praying that she didn't want to die until she knew about her son. And
how long was he actually missing?
Oh, probably a good 5 months.
What?
5 months. And how he survived that long, I don't know. But they found his body yards and yards and yards and yards away from the plane crash. So he was able to be brought home and have a funeral for him. But I never forgot that experience, because as a kid, I kept wondering, why me?
Good. That's what I was going to say. Why me?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not part of the rescue team. I just, why me? And I've always believed then, probably even before that.
They say she's coming. Yeah. So they say she's
okay.
on the way. Okay, keep going.
I'll wrap this up real quick.
No,
but
wait,
go ahead.
But when you went to Peggy, did you go to her with this question, or had you asked other people over the years?
No, I never really asked other people, but I just knew that over time, the more and more this unfolded in my life, just connecting with, I call them ancestors, and always listening to them, and grew up in the church and familiar with, we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, and, the communion of the saints. And it's like, they're very active in our lives. So I don't, it's not a silent witness. It's very much a communication, because we have that blood soul connection with
Guess
them.
Who's here?
Hey,
you let me tell you something. I don't know if she can cook, but if she can, she better make an extra pie or your favorite dish and send it to you, Dr. Jim, as her stand-in.
Oh, gosh.
So you're her stunt double from now on.
There you go. Hey, Peggy.
Hi, guys. I am so sorry. There's so much I don't know, and I couldn't get into my computer. I'm going to have a person who knows what they're doing help me out after this. But
who helped? How'd you get here?
My friend Barbara and Sean were both trying to help me through various means, and Barbara sent me the link through my email, and somehow that let me get in, because before, when I tried to go directly, it wasn't working. I already gave my theory on that, and I tell people, whenever something tries to get in the middle of something, that means that something great is up the road a piece, and just hold on. So, Dr. Jim, do me a favor. I don't know. Well, you're on one of my platforms to watch. Can you give me your I want to bring you back as your own guest. So you have your own, you're very intriguing, and I want to hear more. And so that we can get you on the show just for your own moment in the sun. Okay. And I really appreciate you, Dr. Jim.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let me bow out. And so, Peggy, we were just filling space, holding the space. Filling space.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jim. You guys, Dr. Jim will be back soon, I hope.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There we go. I put my email address
Dr.
in there.
Jim, thank you. Peggy, should I call you Peggy? Because you're not really, you answer to that when you're not channeling, or are you Margaret there?
Well, I'm Margaret Claire on my work, but I'm Peggy to everybody in my life. So it's a little hard to keep the distinction.
Let me see.
And I answer to whatever anybody calls.
I was thinking of something that could get me in the
I
better
understand.
graces with the angels, but someone said, "Boy, if you don't sit down, be quiet." So I'm glad you're here. I'm
Thank you.
glad you're here and that you showed up. So you heard that must have made you feel good that so many people came running to speak about the authenticity, if you will, of Peggy, Margaret Claire Jacobs. So let's start. We got a half hour. Can you tell us how this all came to be? One day you're just on the playground swinging and minding your own business, and all of a sudden you're talking to angels. Or what happened? What happened?
I really didn't have any connection. Let me just put it this way. I grew up in the church, in the Catholic Church. I was always very close to the mothers, to Mary in particular, but nothing that I was aware of until I had a couple of events in my life where I ended up really having to make choices it completely changed my life. I had to make a choice to move away from everything I knew, the church, the relationship, marriage I was in. And I later learned that's called a spiritual awakening, when everything you count on is taken away. And at the time, I was very busy with children. I'm a nurse, but I hadn't worked, so I had to go back and learn. Anyhow, all of these events kind of led me. And there was something that happened in 1987 called the harmonic convergence, which I did not know anything about. But that was when all of the energies around the earth, and I may not be explaining this correctly by long terms, but for me, it was a shift in vibration to the extent that you start searching. And you don't really know what you're searching for, or at least I didn't. In the 90s, I was introduced to the concept that we pick our lives and that we pick for our soul's growth what is happening in our life.
Yeah.
And that we are not victims to it. This is not to say it's easy. It is not about that. But we're invited to the school of earth. And that this is the only place where love exists. And it's the only place where free will, at least to my knowledge, is operating. We've been living in a lot of denseness. And I'm going to term that third dimension. It's a term just where the focus is often on pain and suffering. You have to achieve, you have to earn your way to God. You might never get there because you're born in sin. All of these concepts that for me, I certainly believed until I had other experiences. And those experiences happened when I met my teacher through a long roundabout route. This is about 92, 93. And as a nurse, I was looking for something more holistic. And I thought maybe I would study Reiki or some of the other pieces that were just becoming more online if you were astute, if you were searching. And instead, I was led to this woman. And the first time I heard about her and she taught channeling, quite frankly, I said, no, I'm not interested. Not my thing. I'm a professional. I'm not even sure how I feel about all of this. 2 weeks later, I was there. And she said, channel. And I did. And I felt like I came home. There was no doubt at all about what had happened for me.
Okay. Let's put the brakes on the car right there. And I want to ask you this about your experience as a nurse, only because I have a coaching client who's a nurse. Soda Bay. Hello, Soda Bay Mokri. She's from Iran and she's very gifted, spiritually gifted. And she tells the story of how, as a nurse, she didn't know she had these gifts either, but because of her connection with so many people as they were transitioning or about to, or whatever, things that were unexplainable, I'm doing air quotes, started standing out to her. And it kind of helped push her, if you will, into the gifts that she now uses freely. Do you think being a nurse had anything to do with that? Like, did you what's that you're holding?
This is an Andara crystal. This is from Lemuria. These crystals came to me a number of years ago to help me in my work. And this is called Mama. And she has the faces of many different beings. Kuan Yin, the green tower is in here, snakes, dragons, all spiritual elements, very powerful, and they change faces.
So, see, there you go. There you go, shaking up some shit. I'm just going to say, snakes and dragons. Okay, let's go. I'll bite. Snakes and dragons, not traditionally what we envision when we're thinking, okay, we're thinking cherubs playing little harps and things with, little babies that, what I'm saying. We don't traditionally see. I had to look at the paper to see if that was actually what I wrote down. It is snakes and dragons, especially snakes. Well, dragons are mythical. Snakes are usually something evil. So what's going on?
All right. So a long time ago, both of those beings were very powerful and on the earth. They were a part of creation, and they're part of enlivening the soul. And the snake represents us on a certain level. As we move through the earth, we're supposed to be grounded. And the snake is one of the most grounded beings. It's transformational. It sheds its skin. And so that's kind of a metaphor for us. And dragons are a part, they're labeled anything that had a spiritual context. I mean spiritual, not religious.
Thank you.
I want to make those distinctions.
Absolutely right.
And it's not to say anything about anybody's beliefs. I want to be clear. This is my journey, and this is how I relate. And everybody has to follow their own path, their own soul. Like I said in the beginning, we pick our lives, and we pick the events in our lives that shape them. And we spend our life in amnesia until we begin to deliver some aspect of our own knowing surfaces, and we get to know ourselves.
Is that the awakening?
That would be a form of awakening. There's many. We go through, it's like shedding skin.
Yes.
We have a certain belief.
Like a paint strip, I see it. Like a paint strip. You're never done.
No.
There's always more. There's always more. That's infinity. Always more.
But the remembrance to me is it's to bring us freedom, and it's to bring us joy. Because while we're living on the earth in the physical being that we are.
Joy. I just happen to have that there. Go ahead.
It's a good place. And so we are really about stripping away the old denseness about pain and suffering. We've lived in a time frame that was evolving, and now we're coming actually out of third dimension, the denseness, the suffering, and the pain, into what I call fifth dimension. That's where I see it as God's unconditional love. Fourth dimension is kind of a bridging. But we're more in fifth dimension. Those of us who have been doing the journey in a variety of ways are really seeing distinctions. And we're seeing, because if you listen to the astrology, and I'm not an astrologist, but I do listen to others who are very good with it.
Yes.
And they are telling us that we are going into the age of Aquarius, a golden age.
Okay, wait a minute. I wasn't going to say anything because I thought, Lauren, stay on point, because you said fifth dimension, and they did have a song called The Age of Aquarius. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, okay, maybe they knew something. I want to ask you this though, because this is the time, this is the week we're going into Thanksgiving for those of us here in the States. Are you going to be around family and friends?
I am. I'm very
Okay.
blessed.
And now you came from a religious background, but you're not religious. You say you're not speaking religion, you're speaking spiritualism. So
Mhm,
let me ask you something. When this came about, first for you,
mhm.
what did you think, oh yeah, no problem, I'll abandon everything I've ever been taught and open myself up to this channeling thing, which I can, most of the people in my family, because we're 7-day Adventists, I'm not anymore, but they are, would say, I'm not kidding you. They walk in our house. This is a real thing. They walk in our house. It's Halloween time. Nothing but a regular pumpkin that we cut. It had a smiley face and stuff. No jagged teeth. Nothing. Oh, demonic. That's what I'm talking about. So I can only imagine what they would say if they sat across from you and you said, "Oh yeah, I can channel." How did you get to the place, Margaret Claire Jacobs / Peggy? How did you get to the place where you didn't feel like you were abandoning, or I don't know how to even put it, like, because you know how people look at this stuff.
I do.
Some.
Well,
How?
I
How did
would
you do
have
it?
to say there were a lot of other circumstances. When I would go to church, I would cry. I could no longer feel the joy of it. And a lot of other circumstances were happening that were very, very difficult. And it was kind of like I had to make a choice. I had to decide how I could care for my children, start again working as a nurse, and keep my balance. And I'll tell you, one of the places that helped me a great deal was Al Anon. And I learned a lot about how to take care of myself. I grew up in a household with alcoholism, and I'm the oldest of seven. So the responsibilities kind of fell to me. So I
Mhm.
learned how to be a caregiver, and the last person you took care of was yourself. And so I had to learn. I went through most of my life being, the mother of my siblings, also the mother of my own children, unnursed, married, all of those things where you're always, that's how I identified myself.
Taking
That's how
care of
I
others.
thought that made me a good person. And if
Mm.
it cost me, well, then that's the price you got to pay. And you look at the back generations, especially with women, but not only women, of the caregiving roles. And it has had gotten better, so to speak, on the surface,
Yeah.
but the denseness of it, we were now working outside the house and inside the house and everything else that went along. So at some point, I had to make very specific choices in order for me to survive. But my main focus truly was on my children. How could I keep sustaining myself? What I learned in Al Anon was the acronym for fear. Because when all this kind of change happens, fear is just everywhere.
Mm.
Except, what I got to tell you now that I think about it, it wasn't. I couldn't afford fear. I was
Mm.
able, I don't know how, to push it aside. One of the reasons was the acronym they showed me or told me was fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yep.
And I would use that all the time because if I thought too far into the other thing is you have to stay in the moment.
Stay in the moment.
If you think too far ahead, you just can't function.
Eckhart Tolle, y'all. The Power of Now. Great book. It is true. Keep going.
And so with all of that, we we did okay. It was hard, very hard. However, I then met someone who was assistive to me. And a lot of the information I got was actually from him. And so during that time, I started exploring. And I think because I had left the church before and I went into such an extremely intense time, eventually what I noticed is I didn't cry anymore like I was crying. And
Mm.
I was trying to, I still had my kids in church because I wanted them to have something. I was trying to keep as much stability in an unstable life.
Right.
So as time has gone on, a lot of the parts that were important to me in the church have come full circle because they were spiritually first.
Yeah.
And then they were kind of hijacked in a certain way to keep all the women sort of. Mary Magdalene became a prostitute. Um, Everybody else was subservient. The Bible wrote out a lot of the women's roles. And it was a period of
That's
time.
why it says version,
Well,
because it's not, some things were added, some things were taken out. That's why
and
it's a version.
and you know, I have to also say, at the time that a lot of that was happening, um, there were things that were needed from a strong governing body, let's put it that way, that was often assistive to the poor and to others. So there is a balance here that started out from good, from grace, and then became something else as power over people became the main tool of keeping people subjugated and in fear.
Yes.
And so
Controlling a collar.
when you kind of come into some of this, for me, it was a spiritual awakening. I didn't identify it as that until I started the channeling. And even with the channeling, I didn't know how I could do this. I didn't feel like I was
How do you
worthy
do it?
enough.
Give us an example. So, see, okay, let's go there. And we're gonna have to bring you back because we lost a whole half hour, so we have to bring you back. I
Thank
want to
you.
know this. So,
I
Peggy,
have a message.
huh?
I can always, they're with me all the time. I have a direct connection. We all do.
Right.
But
So,
mine is more open.
oh, wait a minute. I didn't know that till just now. I just heard it. So when I say to people, hey, so and so, I got a download for you, and I do, and it works, and it's real, I'm channeling.
You are.
It's just like when you turn on NBC, CBS, Fox, whatever you're watching, you're inside of their channel. Okay, duh. Okay, so it's not like, because I'm gonna tell you why. Some people think like it's got to be like, who is here with us? Make yourself known, like we see in the movies, like when Whoopi Goldberg was in. Remember, she was in that movie. She was like, and she was faking. But anyway, so that makes it a lot less scary. So you say we all have that opportunity.
We do. But the thing I would mention about it is, first of all, you have to be conscious. There's all kinds of aspects to this. You have to set your intention that you work with the highest good.
That's right. And
And
stay
that
there.
your
No shared
ego,
custody agreement with that decision. You cannot play with it.
and that you have to be aware of your ego. We're human beings. We have all these different elements that operate, and you can think you're doing a good thing, but you have to do your own work. You cannot just say, oh, well, everybody can channel, therefore my wisdom is sacrosanct and you have to listen. No, to me, channeling from the highest good is always because you as an individual have opened up to some part of self through the work you've done about your own self-love.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can get sidetracked. And people start out not knowing and not understanding that they're on a journey. And what I knew 30 years ago and what I know now are very different.
Very
The
different.
the energy of that time was even more dense than it is now. And people might say, well, look at the wars and look at the this and but the truth is we have more connection to creator than ever. And we have more people awake on the planet coming from their heart. And that is part of the energy that's coming through. And that is what I channel. And that is what, when you are coming truly in your wisdom of love, then you're channeling with the highest good. Because you can give an exchange to somebody that's just good advice.
And you know what, Margaret, I'm going to say this. You're absolutely right. When I remember how I was eased into the download thing, speaking them, because for a long time I was having the conversation with the messages in my head, because I was like, is this me? Am I making this stuff up? And you know where it happened? I was in jail. And I'd be in the cell with my roommate, and they'd be talking about all the horrible things and this and the other. And I would always hear the antidote. No, he did have someone who loved him. It was his grandmother, Bertha, for the sake of story. And she drove a green, it was this specific, a green station wagon. Now, and I remember it was the green station wagon was real, right, in the message. And I was like, well, I'm not saying that. That's too specific. He's going to think I'm crazy. And not 3 minutes after I passed on speaking, he says, well, you know what? There was one person who loved me. It was my grandmother, Bertha. And she used to always pick, I loved her because she had a green station wagon. It was a Woody. And I was like, now how am I supposed to go back and say, well, you're not going to believe this? But I just heard. That was the last time I ever questioned it. And so now I operate with no filter, no human filter. Just let it go through. So how does a person know? Because that was the hardest thing for me, Margaret. It was that I was like, how can somebody like me, how do I get this opportunity? I don't even know what's going on in my own life. How am I going to be telling these things? But then I started embracing it. And it seemed like the more I used it, the stronger it became. Talk about that.
So I believe that we work with a whole team of guides, angels, dragons. Dragons and archangels work together. There's a woman by the name of Diana Cooper who put out a book called Dragons, Your Celestial Guardians. And I had the experience of becoming a dragon. So I know it's real, although I didn't understand it. But what I want to say is there's discernment. You can't go around saying to people, oh, by the way, be very careful because tomorrow you're going to walk into traffic and be hit by a car. Or you have to use a bit of your mental logic as well as your heart opening to know, is this of benefit to someone? There may be times when you do give what might be considered a negative outcome. But on the other hand, what I find for myself is that in the beginning, I would hear my voice say, in the beginning, I would hear the angels say, or the guides, the mothers, their groups. So sometimes I know who, but something, and it would be, oh, your grandmother wants you to know how much she loved you, and would give a name. And I'd be saying, you can't say that. You don't know that. And then some part of me would slip into saying what I was given without editing it. And I had the experience of working with this woman who was a world-renowned teacher. And she did toning. Toning is using your voice to shift your vibration, a very important part of how to navigate negativity, depression, anxiety. We shift our inner knowing by humming, by singing, by music, uplifting, always on the positive to create joy. She had done that in a workshop. I got a message. I was early days, maybe less than 6 months doing the work and studying and trying to understand what wasn't understandable. And I gave a message, and the message was there. This is 90s now. The paradigm has shifted. You need to start teaching your students more about what you specifically know. And she was a world-renowned teacher. And at the time, the gurus remained the gurus. The teachers remained. It wasn't an equal aspect, but the paradigm, meaning the energy, shifted. And now we were to share more. I got told, I got taken out of the way. I got told I had an evil speaking demon speak. Who was I to say anything to this lady? So I went back and did another workshop with her, because I do things the hard way. And I waited till the end. I was very nervous. And I said, well, how do you know if something's of God, something's of the light? And she said to me, because you've set your intention.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, what I knew then was I deliver the message. The person I deliver it to, it's their job to discern what the message means for them.
For them.
And they can't, it's a journey. And so what happened is it taught me to trust. I had to learn to trust what was coming through me, so I could go into all kinds of other exchanges.
Yep.
And the depth of these would really take people on their journey. I'm here to assist. I'm not here to do the work of someone else, but I can give guidance. I can use vibration. When two of us are together, we create a third energy. I call that the Christ light or the God energy, or you can call it whatever you like. There's power in it. And what we're really learning to do right now is claim our power.
Yep.
And to do it in a way of with others, not over. And to be very mindful of staying away from fear.
Yes.
Anything that leads you to fear is leading you out of your joy, out of your power. And with all that's going on, when we go into our heart, that transmits love energy in such a strong manner. And the more of us who do it, the more it will change the outcome. Whatever you focus on, you feed.
That's right.
So if you're going to focus on how much awfulness is in the world and what's going to happen when this happens or so-and-so does that, then you're putting all your energy in the future that isn't here now in a way that gives them the power, because you've given away yours.
Right.
If you stay grounded in your joy,
there
in
it is.
your love.
There it is. Right there.
It's very simple.
Duh. I say this all the time, and it is. We make it way harder than it really is. I think I told you when we were talking the other day that Spirit told me if there was a book about how they deal with each of us, Lauren, yours would be one of those yellow, black, and white books, whatever, for dummies. And because it's so simple. And I was like, I'm grateful for that, because I just want to say this as we get out of here. We're going to bring you back now that you know how to get in. But I do want to say this, you guys. This is the linchpin. The connectivity must. It is a must. Is that you cannot have a shared custody agreement. You can't believe 1 minute, and that's lukewarm. That's what we're warned about. You must, no matter what, be consistent with your intentions. You must, because all you need to, when you don't, you leave the door open for something else. You leave the car running with the door open with a sign on it, steal me, plunder, whatever. But you must be diligent. If you are diligent in all things, doing your best, being impeccable, the 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. Don't take anything personally, and always do your best. Just those 4 things, which are really true because they kind of null and void each other. If you do one, you've done the other. You will find that your gifts to me, they're like the shoes on my spiritual feet. You see what I'm saying? Right. They carry me over every type of terrain, no matter what. So when we get you back, we're going to go even deeper. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today's show, but we'll be back. Keep your eye on my pages, you guys, and you'll see when we're going to get Margaret Claire Jacobs, also known as Peggy, back on the show. I just want to say thank you so much for your diligence and for making it through and getting here, and for I haven't asked you officially, but I know you'll agree to come back. I know you will. And I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And we'll get her back, you guys. Don't worry. I'm sorry that we're out of time, but thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the 836 of you who are here right now, wherever you're at in the world. Know this, you are here for a reason. Remember, when you wake up every day, you're already great. You're already bold. You're already nice. But find that one E and that one R that's in front of you somewhere today that will allow you to go to sleep tonight or whenever that is, nicer, bolder, smarter. All of it. Take everything to a whole new level. Won't you? Take it to a new level. I promise you won't be sorry. Now listen, get out of here. I will see you tomorrow morning, God willing, right over there on the front porch for another illuminated conversation. I tell you every day as you get out of here, I absolutely love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. See you tomorrow. Have the best day. Margaret, thank you so much. We're going to bring you back. You guys have the best day ever. See you soon.